wonderful people. It's a joy to be coming to your screens one more time. It is always a pleasure that the Lord has given me, and I am grateful. I can guarantee you, I do not take it for granted that you are watching, that you tune in, that you follow. Some of you are able to give us a call, and I'm grateful to God for the opportunity that I get to be able to share my story on your screens, whether on your phone, on your TV, on your iPad, wherever it is you're watching me from, home and abroad. I thank the Lord for giving me an opportunity to be on your screen today. Welcome to the show. I am your host, Diana Gathoni, and we continue with this episode. So from whence we stopped last time, I think I will recap a little bit. The last episode really talked much about the healing journey, having to deal with pain in the presence of people that are comfortable causing you pain. How do you deal with that? And I know we didn't exhaust it, and we will continue with it at some point. But today I want to pick up on something that is quite interesting, that affects us in very many ways. It at least affected me in a very huge way in terms of the people that I had to start dealing with after the loss of Kevin. Because what you need to understand is that losing a spouse is different from losing everybody else, in the sense that this is someone you are building your life with. So everything you are building was encompassed on this person, like it was a we thing. It was not an I thing. So when we were building relationships, which is something I want to focus on this one, it was on the basis of a we. So I had to reconfigure and start figuring it out how this works. But now I would like to start from the story I stopped the last time. If you followed, you know there is a story that is pending, and I know you're there, you're wondering, Diana, can you go into the story? Okay, this is the story. Now I can smile when telling that story, but when you hear it, God help you that you don't get angry. Because at first I was angry. Hey, people have guts, in this life. People have guts. So this lady called me. Remember, that is where we ended the last episode. This lady called me and told me, Dan, I have something urgent I need us to talk about. We have a matter to address. When someone tells you we have a matter to address, it is either good, but it most likely falls on the bad side. So I was there and I was like, the person had never visited me before. And since it was a lady from church, I was like, okay. Nobody used to visit my house until today. My kids actually the other day were joking that we don't get visitors. Well, nilijiweka kando hivyo. But anyway, this lady called and she came over to my house. When she came over, of course, you serve, it's a guest, you serve them tea and stuff like that. And then we sat down, started having a conversation. We talked for about an hour before she could get into the meat of why she came to my house. So eventually I saw, this one we are beating around the bush. So I was like, okay, so you had something you wanted to talk to me about. What's it? Where? Huh? Accusation is another thing. This one, accusation is something we need to talk about. So she told me this lady, this other member of our church, came to her house and told her that I, Diana Gathoni wa Kamau, Mimi, I am sleeping with her husband. I know. Hey, people have guts, I'm telling you. Yeah, that is what they said. They told her. And she was sent at the messenger to come deliver some information that I should stop sleeping with her husband. And those ones you hear and you are like, Yeah, Repeat, And she even mentioned the minister and the minister's wife. And she was like, she came to my house. She was very angry. There are two ladies and you are the first one. The other lady apparently was confirmed. She was sleeping with the husband. It was confirmed. And it brought chaos in its own way. But the thing was, the wife of the minister came to this friend of mine, lady friend, and told her to come and warn me to stop sleeping with her husband, because I was the first one to sleep with her husband before the second woman was found out. And I was like, in church, I serve with these people. I love on these people every Sunday. Every Wednesday we go for service. Every time we sit together. I was shocked. Yeah, to say the least, I was shocked. I was angry. Remember, we are going by this anger bitterness thing. You will always be having people that are coming to ensure you have not completely suppressed that demon. And she came, and I was listening. And what hurt me the most was that this person that was sent, I had considered a friend. But I found out at that time that she had believed that I was actually sleeping with the friends, now the minister's husband, because she told me, she looked at me in the face and she told me, Diana, tell me the truth. Is it true? Because it looks like it is true. Is it true? And I looked at her, and that is the day our friendship ended. I didn't tell her, it just ended. And I was like, wow. So being like a single woman, and I was young, my husband Kevin died when I was 28. So each time hata sikuwa nimefika 30, I was still in my initial stages of grieving, or maybe that most I had gone to 30. And I was there, and I was like, So being single, beautiful, looking like you are, people interpret you as a very needy person, or rather people used to interpret me as a very needy person. I still didn't have a job, by the way. The years down the line, I still didn't have a job. It took me, this one I will give it an episode, This one I'll give it an episode. It took me 6 years to get a job. 6 years. 6 years after Kevin's death to get a job. Wow, this one I will cover it on its own. So she sat and she lectured me. I was lectured because of sleeping with someone's husband. You know the way you get news and lectured? Me, I didn't know what to absorb. I did not know. So she talked. I think when she noticed I was exhausted in listening, it's when I think I told her the kids are coming or something. I gave an excuse for her to leave. And she left. But when she left, I was hurt. I was hurt. And it was a weekday. And I'm thinking on Sunday I'm going to church. And I'm sitting with these people. I am going to serve these people. I was serving them. I'm going to serve these people. And I was there. I was wounded. I was wounded. Hey. Where? The accusations you get that, you can hear rumors, kuna kitu ina, something is cooking somewhere. So by the time it gets to you, you have developed shock absorbers. Like, I know with time they will tell me this is happening because I've already heard rumors. This one, I had not heard rumors. And I was like, and I remember it was a December. I was hurt. I was like, oh my God, how can people be so wicked? Someone sat in their house, cooked up that the only person that looked like was cheating, my husband was cheating with, was this one. And they sent someone to come and tell me to stop. I was hurt. That one, it pinched. That is the season I learned on how to deal with accusations. The accusations of men, they can put you in a bottle and seal it and leave you cooked there. I was hurt. And I remember, of course, I told her I didn't, because it was a question like she demanded to get an answer from. But then even when I told her I didn't, you see, when you tell someone I didn't do something, and then they keep asking you, are you sure? Surely. Sleeping with someone, and I tell you no. How sure do you need to be? It's not like did you pick a pen from there? And I say no. It's surely sleeping with someone, and you're asking me if I am sure about it. When it takes, where does being sure come from? Even now I'm still wondering, where does being sure come from? You're asking me if I am sure. When my spirit went and slept with the person and I was not aware. I was so angry. So, of course, I don't even care what happened after that, because rumors still went on. And now there were women that started throwing me those eyes. The way they throw you eyes, that one. Hey, I have clicked twice. That is to say something. But I was angry, and these are people I had to see them on a daily basis. And those were my initial stages of dealing, the first few years of dealing with the loss of Kevin. I am telling you, and amazingly, this is not just for widows. For the fact that you're a single girl raising children and you look like you're needy or you need help, people will assume that you will do anything to get that help. People will assume because that was the point. They thought, I had a lot of need. that they thought I was willing to sleep with the person, because amazingly that person had already started doing well in life financially. So it looked as if I had taken advantage. They made it seem I took advantage of the person because I had financial needs. It hurt, and I had to, that is in the process of redefining my relationships. And of course you can guess, that is one I crossed off my list of friends. And in that season, it was in the same season that I met that other lady in the supermarket and told me to keep off their husband. You see, now when you put 1 and 2 together, because they were people of the same circle, now when you put 1 and 2 together, you can see why the lady at the supermarket was angry when she found me with her husband. Maybe she thought, yeah, this is another victim, But I learned from in that season to stay off people's spouses. Even the ones that were very genuine to me, I learned to keep off people's spouses. And when I'm talking about relationships, you need to understand that people can make it very hard for you to be able to relate with them. People can make it very hard when you are someone who has gone through the things that I personally have gone through, the loss of a husband specifically. People can make it very hard for you to be able to relate with people, especially. It is sad because this was happening in church. It's a sad thing that the same place that you find comfort is the same place that you will be accused. The same place you find comfort is the same place that, when others are loving on you, others will be very busy accusing you and hurting you, and they will not be feeling anything about it. So at this time, I started checking. I was already at this time working on my relationships. I had already lost a few, not a few, a lot. I had already lost a lot. By this time, I think it was 3 years after the death of Kevin. You can imagine in those 3 years, when I talk about relationships, I didn't have relationships with family, with family in terms of in-laws. We did not have a good rapport. I have these children that I have to raise. I remember within that period, I was invited to go to the UK, but I refused because the condition was I had to leave my children. My children are precious to me. And when people talk about investments, for me, my first investment is my children. And I have been in things that people don't understand, why you pick certain opportunities that would take me away from the children. But for me, they are my first investment. They are the first investment of my time. They are the first places I invest my money. They are the first investment they are the first ones I invest my energy in. When I get up in the morning, they are the first faces I see. So when I had relationships around me that were falling, I still made sure that these ones, we stayed grounded. We stayed grounded in this same very church where I have been. When that was happening, and I love my pastors. I sat down with Pastor Charlotte at that time, and she looked at me in the face, and when I told her what I was being accused of, she was like, so they're not telling the truth? I was like, yes. No, she actually asked me, are they telling the truth? I said no. So why is it bothering you? And that is when it sat, it sank in me, and I was like, why is it bothering me? And until today, when I when I hear people are saying stuff, the first things I ask myself is, what they're saying true? Okay, no. But even when it is true, I think, there is the way people take truth out of context, and they make it sound so bad. And sometimes like, okay, is the truth in context? No. And so I have learned to brush it off. But at that specific time, when I was just fresh in dealing with grief, the last thing I needed was people telling me that I was sleeping around with their husbands. The last thing I needed was people throwing their eyes at me in a certain manner to suggest keep your husband safe with their women, and I would be there and I would be like, So I analyzed the situation, and I learned that you will always have those people in your life who will come, laugh with you, talk with you, but at the end of the day, they do not have your best interest in heart. And that is what I did. So I started washing on my relationships. Okay, this one I washed off completely. These 2 people that accused me, and any other woman that gave me that eye, I washed off. And then I started checking, okay, my problem is if is relating with men. I do not have a good relationship with men. Why? I analyzed it, and I was like, I first of all, because of the loss of my husband, I did not want anyone think. I had people thinking, I remember I had one time a guy that guy hunted me until he found out where I was living. He was just lurking around there. He was just driving around my hood to find out the house. That one I will talk when I'm talking about remarriage. But now for this one, I decided now I was in church, I was grounded in church, and I was not going to allow myself to be pulled down to the gutter just because there are people who think otherwise of me. Because I realized as a single girl with 2 very little children, and at this time I was honestly, I was looking good. I still look good, but I looked good. Yeah, I still look good. Yeah, but oh God, even then I looked good. I looked really good. I did not allow myself to be beat up because I lost a husband. You see, like the way you look like, yeah, someone who needs help from life. I did not allow myself to look like I needed a lot of help. I remember even, and okay, it's not all my doings. Part of it was God, because He has covered me with His glory, and I'm grateful. But I remember there was one time I went to ask for some help. By then I was struggling financially. We will have an episode for that one. This one, when you hear they are accusing me of sleeping with other people's husbands, it's because I was in need. I was totally in need, and they could see it in the sense of I was looking good, but I used to ask for help a lot. So I would not sleep hungry and you can help, so, and I had tiny babies. So I would ask some of these ministers for help. So when someone came and told them I needed Nini, I was sleeping around, it was from the basis of she needs a lot of help. So anyway, this one time I asked for help, and that person looked at me. You see, like the way someone will measure you from head to toe. They looked at me from head to toe, looked at me from head to toe again, and they were like, you need help. With the way you look, you even look better than the way I am dressed. And now you're saying I am the one who has money. I'm telling you, that is how the person walked away. Waliniacha kwa field in church. They walked away. They are like, you don't need help. Yeah, people who need help look like they need help. You don't look like you need help. So they honestly thought I was messing with them, and of course they did not help. So anyway, that was just a digression. But talking on relationships, that is when I learned on the ones to let go, and it is wisdom. It is wisdom to learn the relationships that you need to let go. And some of them may be some relationships that you have had for a long time. It is wisdom. And most of them, when Kevin died, most of them I had to let go of most of them. Because some of them were really talking behind my back. Secondly, they didn't mean well for me and the children. And I remember there were those ones that literally they would say it to my face. Yeah, we don't see where you are going. Hey, people have guts, eh? They would look at me and they would be like, hey, only God can help you. And I was like, yeah, only God can help me. Yeah, only God can help me. And I'm telling you, it is. You see, now it may not seem as it is weighty when I'm saying it, but back then it had so much weight, especially when I'm going through the grief, and I felt I needed people. And the people that I thought that I needed were not available. And the ones that were seemingly making themselves available, they were not there to help. I remember, and I speak of this in all respect, I remember one time I would be called into the office of one of the people that I was considering, I would consider them a voice to me at that time. They would call me into their office and they would sit me down and lecture me on how I'm conducting my life. And I'm still dealing with grief. Until one time, they went for someone's burial a woman who had lost her husband. And I think the woman fainted and fell in the grave of the husband they were burying. And she started foaming. And I remember the person called me into their office and they were like, Enyewe, we do not understand what exactly it means to lose a husband, but after what I saw last week, I understand it's nothing easy. Because some of you need to understand that some of the decisions that we make as widows, or decisions that I made, you may feel like what you advised was not what I followed. But you see, at the end of the day, it was my decision. If it was a relationship you felt I should have kept, I remember I was sat down several times. Why don't you pursue this relationship? Why don't you pursue? And I remember one of the ones I was being told, pursue this one. They have been your friend for a long time. Pursue this one. And that specific person I've been told to pursue is someone we went somewhere with, and they held their husband very close because I walked into the room. Someone that knew my husband. And I walked into the room, and they held their husband very close because I walked into the room. And some of you need to, I had to develop a muscle of letting these relationships go without holding on to what they had done to me. Because the mistake sometimes that we make is holding on to, you let the person go, but you will not let go of what they did to you. So how have you let that person? It's only their physical their physical being that has left your space, but you are still holding on to what they have done. You are still holding on to the person. It's only that they are not physically there. They are still speaking into your head. Because I remember after this accusation, I still had the people around me. I pushed them away, but what they did to me still stayed with me. These women that always held on to their husbands when I walked into the room, I let them go from my hands, from my, how do I put it? I let them go in the sense that I did not spend time with them, and I never found myself in their space. But at the end of the day, they were still part of me because I was holding grudgingly what they had done to me. And when it comes to relationships, we need to learn there are two aspects of it, the good side of it and the bad side of it. And what happened at that time was, as I was letting go of relationships, I did not have a safe space to build other relationships. So I have been a loner for a very long time. I'm still learning to get out of that box that I put myself in. I've been a loner for a long time because you see, when people damage you for a long time, you find it very difficult to let other people in. And that is what happened. There was a lot of damage that was being caused. My in-laws were saying things. I respect them for who they are, but I was always being told this, being told you should not do this, being told that I was called an irresponsible mother many times because I have refused to do what they think I should do. I could not. Every relationship that I had before Kevin died collapsed. Wacha niseme hivyo, it collapsed. 99.9% of it collapsed. It collapsed completely. Some of them collapsed in a good way. Some of them I just let go because they didn't. And now I understand is that they didn't know how to deal with me, and I didn't know how to deal with them. I didn't know how to have them in my space without getting hurt and not seeing Kevin in them, not remembering the memories that we had shared together. And because I didn't know how to do that, I pushed them away. And some of us do that. We push people away when we don't know how to handle them in the space that we are in. And sometimes for me personally, I push them completely, like until date, 100%. Most of them we can no longer talk, and they meant well with me. But you see, I was not in a mental position to be able to decipher which ones are for me and which ones are not for me. I felt like everyone was speaking against me, especially if you happened to give me advice of something that I was doing and you were of a contrary opinion. I felt like you are against me and my children, and at that time I will push you off and still execute what I wanted to execute. And I remember relationally it was a tough time. I didn't know for a long time to relate with the male gender. I did not know how to do it. Everyone to me seemed, especially having been accused of sleeping around, I did not know how to relate with male people for a very long time. Even now I'm still trying. I'm better because I am wiser, but I struggled over the years to relate with the male gender. And even worse with us women. Yeah, even worse with us. Because, living a life where you have to explain your every step to people, it is hard. It is hard. Like every step I took, I had to tell you, okay, I've taken my children to this school. I have to come and tell people, why did I take them to that school? Literally, and I'm not giving you examples out of nowhere. Literally, I had to explain, hey, if I went and bought a shoe to someone and someone saw my child with a shoe that was expensive, I had to come and explain, hey, Diana, you bought a very expensive shoe. Did you have to do that? See, at least you would have done some shopping and put in your house. You know, the person assumed I didn't have it. I have the first initial years, I had to explain. And because now I did not like having to explain my life to people, I kept people away. That was the only remedy. I kept people away. But with time, I have also come to learn the beauty of having relationships. You know, there is a person I follow that's called Apostle Selman. He likes saying that relationships are currencies. And before, back then, I didn't know. I would be struggling and I would not come to ask you for help because I remember, hey, one time I asked someone for help. I was out of the house. Actually, to be very honest, I had gone to the salon. I had done shopping, paid bills, did what I could do, and I had some money left, and I went to Umoja Market. I went to the salon. While my hair was being done, I had a house girl. She called me. And she told me, Mami, gas imeisha. So I called a friend, someone who then I'm telling you, I have considered people friends over time that I have washed off. Yeah, they have washed off because I realized there was no friendship there. So I called this person and I asked for help to buy gas because the little money I had left after sorting everything out, I went to the salon. So she helped. Amazingly, she helped. Immediately, she helped, and I'm grateful she did. And so nikanunua gas, but this was on a Saturday. Come Sunday, see, I went to church. The person is from church. They saw my hair done. Eh? Where? I'm telling, when I tell you, I used to explain the clothes I'm wearing. And I remember one time there was a lady who brings clothes from Turkey. She used to bring clothes from Turkey. So she would come and dress me. She would tell me, come, I've brought clothes, come for this one. Evo, my in-laws, they used to be very kind that they would ship in clothes. They are not in the country, so they would ship in clothes for me and the children, which I am very grateful. By then, I did not struggle with things like clothes with the children. When Kevin died, they really did their part on that, and they would ship in clothes for us. So you can imagine, I always looked good. I always wore new clothes. I always looked good. So this lady, this time, I went to church the following Sunday. She didn't even say a word to me. I don't even remember her saying hello. And the following week, I think it was in the middle of the week, a pastor friend that was a mutual friend of ours called me and asked me out for tea. And I went, and he sat me down, and he was very sad. And I was wondering, hey, the countenance today is serious. And he was like, Diana, they told me some people have complained that you borrow them money to go make your hair. And this had come now from the weekend. I borrowed some money for gas, and it was honestly for gas. It was for gas. And they called the pastor friend of mine and vented to the person and told the person to come lecture me. So the person lectured me, stop borrowing people money for making hair. He lectured me. And after that, I left the place, and I was like, I'm even being lectured for making my hair. As a widow, you're not supposed to look good. As a single girl, with children, you're not supposed to look good at all. I was lectured, and it hurt. You know, right now when I tell you, you may not feel it, but it hurt me so bad. I was like, dressing well, explain. Making your hair, you still have to explain. When you feed your children well, I had to explain. And some of you have had to do a lot of explaining. I'm telling you, I have entered rest. This girl you see here right now, when you see me and you do not feel good about anything, honestly, it's your cup of tea. That's it. I don't bother with it anymore. But back then, I was like, I had to literally explain every decision that I made. If I chose to move somewhere, I had to explain, okay, why have you decided to move there? Why have you decided not to move here? I'm telling you, if you know me, you know I have moved. And I have moved around, and most of the time it will be like, no, there where you moved is not good, move there. And I would follow. Boop. Mimi Diana, I'm still trying to keep people around me. I'm still talking on relationships. I'm still trying to maintain the ones that I feel matter to me. So when I am told move there, I move there. When I'm told, Diana, that is not good, that is not good. And sometimes I came to the place where I was tired of people, completely tired of people, and I said, this one, I have washed my hands. I have to try to build my life. And some of you need to learn how to do that. You take the opinions of men and you make them your decisions. You need to know where the opinions of men start and where they stop, and where decision making starts and where it is your responsibility. We are taking a short break. We'll be right back as we finish off on the topic of relationships. We'll be back shortly.
Welcome to Hemak Suites, which is a breathtaking address in the Nairobi Central Business District. Hemak Suites make a convenient and relaxing base for conducting business, attending meetings, or discovering the city's culture and heritage from the heart of Nairobi's CBD. At Hemak Suites, you will not only have a front row experience to savour our unique luxury in the refreshing ambience and comfort of our hotel rooms, but will also have the incredible thrill that comes from sampling our unique blend of both indigenous and exotic cuisine, which is immaculately catered for you in our rooftop restaurant. Our rooms come in different varieties, including deluxe, executive, standard, and twin bedrooms. For food enthusiasts, we got your back as well. Hemak Steakhouse, which is located on the 8th floor of Hemak Suites, is just what the doctor ordered. On this rooftop restaurant, you can enjoy a unique dining experience with stunning views of the Westlands area and the city at large. Start your day with a mesmerising sunrise breakfast or savour a romantic sunset dinner in our prime location. Indulge in our exquisite selection of steaks prepared by talented chefs, accompanied by mouth-watering side dishes. Experience impeccable service and an extraordinary dining atmosphere at Hemak Steakhouse. You may also want to have a refreshing and quality time in our conference facilities, which offer not only the ambience required for a gratifying corporate meeting experience, but also the amenities you may need for the success of such an engagement. To book a room at Hemak Suites, and for any other inquiry about our services, please call us on +254 748 618 009. You can also email us on reservations@hemaksuites.com. For in-person inquiries and bookings, you can visit us at Hemak Plaza, 4th floor, Kikarok Road, Nairobi Central Business District. We would also be delighted if you could visit our website for further information on our services. You can do so by visiting hemaksuites.com.
Welcome back. We still continue with this episode on relationships, and we stopped where we were talking about knowing where the opinions of men stop. For me, I had to understand, and I think it's something that would be advisable even for anyone to understand, especially if you're having to parent your children as a single parent. You need to learn where the opinions of men stop when it comes to you building your own home, because for me, I felt like people did not understand me. They didn't understand what it meant to lose a spouse, because most of the people that were giving me advice were still married people, and I know they meant well, because they could not advise me from my own perspective because they had not walked it, and as much as they meant well, I felt like I was starting to live a life that is being dictated by the opinions of other people. And whenever I did not do as their opinions suggested, it came out as I came out as a rebellious person. I came out as this person that cannot be advised. I remember there was a conversation going on, and one of the people because I was sat in a meeting, and I remember one of the people there, they said, this one cannot be advised. You cannot advise her. But you see, at the end of the day, I was making decisions that I felt were good for my children, decisions that I felt were good for my family. I was making decisions depending on where I was seeing me and our children going. Yes, the picture was not clear, but I knew I wanted a better life than we had. And so when people around you start giving you opinions on how you should live your life, how you should take care of your children if you are a single parent, I had to first sit and I remember telling myself, no one has better interests for my family than I do. They may all feel like they do, but nobody has better interest for my family than I do. So when I sit and make a decision and I feel it is right, let me take an example. My children, ever since they started baby class, I have ensured that they have gone to schools that will, how do I put it? I've ensured they've gone to school that no matter what class of people you put them with, they will fit in. You see, I could have just easily taken them to a primary school, and there is nothing wrong with that, please. I'm not saying there is anything wrong. I'm just saying from my perspective. I decided to take them to certain schools because I wanted them to have a competitive future and a life of where they felt oh, Holy Spirit, help me. I wanted them to a place where they fit in. I wanted them to go into the world not thinking that when you see, like when you go to Ushago and children see white kids, you see the way they are like, I'm Zungu. You know me, I didn't want that for my children. I didn't want that ever since they were toddlers. I didn't want that. I wanted to raise them in a way where they felt they were included. Yes, that's the word. Where they felt included in the world I was raising them in. So I ensured the schools that I took them to, they were especially in their formative years, they were rubbing shoulders with these kinds of people, with white people, with Indian people. They went to school. Most of the formative schools they went to, some of them had Indians in them, and they would rub shoulders, and even now, I have lived in places where they have been rubbing shoulders with I remember one of the places I lived, my next neighbor was white, and for me now, my children don't feel, when you put them among white people or among a different colored people, they don't feel off. Because for me, I took it as a responsibility since they were little children to ensure when they were getting into baby class, they learned proper English, they learned proper manners, they learned how to deal with different cultures of people ever since they were young. We were actually having a conversation with Chevelle yesterday. Both of us we are on an assignment to learn Spanish. Chevelle and I, we are on an assignment. She's 13 now. So we've decided we want one language in our house, one foreign language that all of us can speak. When they're in school, right now they are doing French in school and Japanese. And because I have not done French, and neither am I doing Japanese. I love Spanish. Kwanza, when I can sing worship song in Spanish, I feel like I am in heaven. So we have decided with Chevelle and Leon, Spanish will be the language of the house. It will be the language that all of us can learn. They can do their other languages in their schools. Chevelle is she's not multilingual. I think multilingual is the word when they learn different languages. She's very open to learning many languages. So now she's doing French and Japanese, and she wants to finish and do, I think, Mandarin or something like that. But you see, it was because when they were growing up, I did not listen to people who were telling me. I remember one time they were like, no, just put them in this primary school. You don't have to struggle with school fees. And when I mean struggle, is struggle. You struggle. When I would get money, I would be like, is it rent? Is it school fees? Is it food? I could not sort all three together. And when we are dealing with finances, we will talk about that. But I said I would rather struggle and have them in school. I have had to put up with people saying a whole lot of nasty things about me because I put my kids in certain schools. And now I struggled all through for them to go into such schools, but I'm paying the price of, I'm happy I did, because now you put my kids in any space whatsoever. And I mean any space, I don't mean just mighty spaces, even less spaces. Like yesterday, we were having a conversation with Chevelle in the house, and she was like, Mommy, no matter what, we will always be kind to people. We will always love God and love people, you know, because they have now learned how to, Paul says, how to be above and how to be abased. They know what it means to have plenty. They know what it means to have little, and they know how it means to have nothing at all. Nothing, like literally every day, we are like literally not every day. We are in the instances where we are looking at each other and we are like, okay, so what are we eating? Like none of us has an answer. Leon goes to the kitchen and tries to figure out what is in the kitchen, and he comes and he's like, Mommy, there's this and this in the kitchen, we can put it together and eat. But you see, now they have learned how to be in all seasons of life. And when going back now to relationships, when they were growing up, I needed to shut off some of the opinions I got from people, because I was seeing a picture of the kind of children I wanted to raise. And the mistake that most of us are making is that we are allowing the opinions of men to be what makes the final decision for us. It's not even the opinion of God. If you have noticed, I've not even mentioned God in this conversation, because sometimes we blame it on God when we have not carried it in the weight that it should. Because when I come and tell you, when you know in yourself, this is the decision you should make, you have weighed of what benefit it is to you and to your family, and then you went to someone else and they told you, no, I don't think you should do that, I think this is what you need to do. Some of you have allowed people to scale down what you know was good for you and your family, because people thought it was too big. Because that is the problem that I had. People thought I remember one time I was called by someone I esteem highly, and they told me, Diana, you are too ambitious. You are too ambitious. And I was there and I was like, hey, I am ambitious. Okay. And you know, it is one thing when someone is telling you you're ambitious in a good way. When someone is telling you you're ambitious in a negative manner, it carries a different kind of weight. And I remember I was called and I was told, you are too ambitious. The way you are raising your children, the way the schools you're taking them. People had a problem with every decision I was making. And I remember, again, I sat and I was like, this is where I see us going. This is how I want their life to end. And if I don't begin it well, it will not end well. And so I made decisions that I felt were right for me and for my family, irrespective of whether they sat well with people and God. It came to a point that my only consulting person I would consult was God. That's it. If I consulted God and I felt I was comfortable with the decision I was making, I went ahead and made the decision. Whether it sat well with some other people or it did not. And some of us have been unable to get to this place where you can literally say, I made this decision. Why? Because you have too many voices that tell you what you need to do. You have so many relationships around you that you've found it very hard to let go of some of these relationships that you know no longer feed your destiny. They no longer feed your purpose. They no longer feed where you are going. They can only be reminded. By the way, just to mention, one category of relationships I avoided 100%. Anyone I sat with and all they could tell me with how I was living before Kevin died. You know, you and Kevin this, you know, you and Kevin that, you know, Kevin had this dream, Kevin wanted it done this way. I remember one time someone tell me, you know, Kevin would have wanted children raised this way. And I'm like, I am his wife. I was his wife. Surely at least I should know how he wanted children raised, because they did not approve of how I was raising the children. And they were like, no, if Kevin was here, he would not be raising the children this way, you know. And they of course they had their own opinion. And I remember that category of people, anyone who, when they sat to me, all they can talk about is my past, how it was and how it looked like, I washed them off completely. Because there are those ones I warned of. There are those who would visit my house, and I remember one time I was like, okay, can we talk about anything else? Newspapers, the political state of the nation, the financial state. Can we talk about something else and not talk about how my life was when Kevin was around? If someone has a very good memory of it, it is me. I know how it was like. I know I miss him. I know I loved him. But I do not need someone coming into my house and reminding me every time This is how my life looked like. And when I noticed that people were not budging, you see, it is one thing when someone comes and tells you that, especially in my initial years of grieving, people would come and tell me that, and there are those words I understood is because they did not know how my life was now looking like with the absence of Kevin. I also understood is because that is the only way they knew me. So those are the only stories we could have. My responsibility was to create more stories and bring them into my life so they could see who I was becoming. But if I tried to bring you into my life for you to see the person that I am becoming and you refused to see it, you insisted on seeing the Diana that was married to Kevin, who no longer, of course, is married to Kevin, and you insisted on seeing that version of me. I purposely started avoiding such kind of people, and that goes to tell you that at some point I was just me and my children. Because when you try to bring people into the space of where you are now and where you're going, how you're trying to improve your life, and all they keep seeing is the mistakes you made, I'm telling you, you need to wash them off completely. Because if I come to you and I keep telling you, you know, Grace, you used to be like this, you know, you used to be like this person, but they are failing to see the version of you that has evolved with time and the person that you have become. You need to let that person go. Because some of us, we are told, let people go. But on what grounds do you let people go? On what grounds do you drop off people? You don't just get up and drop off people because you don't agree with what they are saying. No, there need to be a systematic approach onto how you are dropping people. And one of the ways that I did it was I decided, if you cannot come into my space now, if you cannot see the person that I am becoming now, if you cannot see the healed version of me, for you to see that you can't keep up bringing up Kevin, you can't keep bringing up grief, you can't keep telling me the pain that you suffered, you can't keep telling, if you cannot see the healed version of me, you can't keep bringing my past pain into my present. I will not give you that room. And in that space, that's how I started washing people off my path. Because when I tell you that I became a loner, you are thinking I just got up one day and I decided I no longer wanted people around me. No, I just decided, you can't see this new version of me. Okay, it's high, I leave you, it's goodbye. You cannot see that the opinions you keep giving me are detrimental to me, in the sense they are not building me, they are bringing me down. If I keep telling you the opinions you are giving me, they are not right. No, if you see, if I tell you something today, I tell you tomorrow, and you see that I am not applying what you told me, you either have to interpret it as this person is rebellious, or you have to come to the point where you can sit down on the seat the person is sitting on the other side and start seeing why they are making the decisions they are making. And if truly you love them as your friend or as your sibling, you will want to now, from that perspective of where you have seen the decisions that you are making, start now adjusting yourself to accommodate the person that they are becoming. But if that person cannot be able to accommodate the version of me that is evolving, I'm sorry, me and you, we are done, and that's it. And unapologetic about it. I will not apologize for dropping you off. I will not apologize for not reaching out. I will not apologize for not responding to your phone calls. I will not apologize to you, because what you have decided to still keep seeing is the Diana of 10 years ago, the Diana that made these foolish mistakes. And I have made many. I have made many. I can guarantee you, I have made many. But if all you keep seeing is the Diana that made those mistakes, and you will not see the version of me that has evolved, you choose not to see the lessons learned. You need to learn how to create a system on how you drop people. If all they do is bring you backwards, remind you of what was, they won't tell you what is coming. They won't tell you, hey, the person that you are becoming, I like. You know, they won't see that. And even if they are seeing it, they will not tell you, because they are like, some of them are being intimidated of the version of you that has grown. My friend, you get intimidated by who I have become, you are not worth of being in my space. I'm telling you, you either grow up to where I am, or at least let me see an effort of your growing up. You don't have to match me. Let me just see there's an effort you're making to growing. And so with time, I started dropping off people, and those were one of the things. Remember I mentioned about the accusation that I suffered? That was also how I learned to start dropping people. If you come to my space and you don't believe me as a person, as a friend, tumewachana, me and you, we are done. So there has to be systems into which we put in place on how we decide to let go of relationships. Don't just let go because Diana said, or the pastor, you went to church today and the sermon was let go. You know those ones, they are like, let go. That person that keeps doing this, let them go, let them go. Before you decide to just let them go, you don't want to just let people go when they are of profit to you. First gauge and see, are they growing? Are they seeing you for who you're becoming? Are they seeing the better version of you? Are they seeing, there's someone who come and tell you, this is not you. The way I see you, no, you can do better. There are people you don't just let go because someone said let go. So I created systems. Until now, I have systems onto how I let people go. I don't just let people go. If the ones that did not see that I was healing, I let them go because they could not. You can't bring my pain of the past to my present. I refuse. You will not do it. You will not. Because you can't see the healed me, you keep me in my pain. No. Some of you need to learn to let those people go. Even within, you see, you can let people go and they are still in your space. You can, in wisdom, let people go, but they are still around you, but you are not attached to them. And that is what I did when it comes to my church relationships. I still spoke with a lot of people. I still went for a lot of meetings with people. I still at some point went for a lot of functions with people. I still hung around with a lot of those people. But you see, in my head and in myself, I had learned the distance of how far this person goes. And that takes a lot of wisdom, where you learn to not completely push people off, that they can still be within your vicinity, but not within your internal vicinity. And that takes a lot of wisdom for you to be able to do that. And I learned it. I learned it the hard way. I learned in that time that because I will not get up and move churches because I don't like the way you treated me. This is the church God has planted me. Because you have accused me, I will not get up and leave because I did not like the way you accused me. I did not like the accusation you brought. I did not like the way you treated me. I did not like the way you handled me, the way you handled my children. I can't just get up and leave. The way you don't just get up and leave your family. You don't do that, even when they wound you. But you can create a space where you are still within the vicinity of those people, but you do not allow what they do get into your space. So around me, they are still, most of those people, we still talk. I'm telling you, we can still sit and genuinely laugh. But there is only, when it comes to the internal me, there is only so far that they can come. And some of us, that is where I feel like we go wrong. When we decide to let people go, we let people go, completely let them go, like they cannot be within our vicinity. Yet, at the end of the day, they may be profit to you in one way or another. You just need to learn how to guard your heart, to know how far you can let them. Because if you decide to be completely letting people go because you don't agree their methods of operation, you don't agree with the way they handle you, you don't agree with the way they handle your children, you don't agree with the way they treat you, I'm telling you, in this life, you will let go of a lot of people, and some of them you need. They may not just be perfect in one way or good to you in one way, but you can imagine that person has very good business that profits you. But in terms of relation, they are not good. You can't brush that someone completely out of your space. And for me, I learned in that period of time, I'm telling you, life has taught me a couple of things, and that is one of them that I apply until today. When you learn how to guard your heart, know how far who comes, and know that you don't need to let people go just because they have been who they are. If the best that someone can do is show you who they are, and when they show you, there are those ones, of course, if they are bringing harm to you, emotional harm, those ones you let go. Like the one who honestly accused me. We were still in the same church, but I realized they were causing me mental harm. So what did I do? It was hi, bye, that was it. That was it. I learned to guard my heart, and I was like, until today, it is hi, how are you? Good. Even if I am not good, good. And hi, and bye. And that's it. And when you learn to do that, then relationships do not become a thorn in your flesh. They do not become something that when the topic of relationships is mentioned, all that comes up is a lot of hurt. No, it doesn't have to be like that. You can still deal with the hurt and still keep the person within your vicinity. And even if you see them, they do not bring that pinch in your soul. They do not bring that. When you will see someone and you are like, guy, this one, if I was not saved, they would, hey, I'm telling you, see those things we tell ourselves on the inside. You mend a church, you've gone to church, and then you see this person and you remember what they did, and you look at them and you're like, hey, if I was not saved, If you had seen the other version of me before I got saved, it's not even a piece of me. I would have landed on you proper. And sometimes someone will tell you something and you look at them and you're like, you are saved. Yeah, with what you did and what you said, you're saved. But you see, when we start having control over people, the same way you don't want them to have control over you, you don't have control over them. And with that, I have come to learn that letting go of some people may bring pain. It may mean that you let go of what you thought they were. It may mean that you let go of what you thought your relationship looked like. It may mean that you let go of what you thought you thought they had come into to play in your life. It may mean that you let go of the fantasy you are building in your head, or the imaginations that you had, or the desires that you had, because there are people I have let go until today. I have one relationship, one that was very solid. I never thought this one we can part. I knew we were solid. We were friends for years after Kevin died. And one day I remember, and this is an aspect I want to bring, and it is, you don't have to take it. And I remember with this one, the Lord specifically told me, stay away from this one. And when the Lord told me to stay away, it did not mean for the person who was doing me wrong. They were not doing me wrong. It just meant that season of them had ended for that time, and they had started thriving. But now what happened is, because they had started thriving and I kept off, it came out as jealousy. It came out of, I was jealous because they are thriving. But you see, at the end of the day, I'm the one who had the conversation with God. I'm the one who knows what to say. And some of us need to learn that sometimes you don't explain yourselves to people that God has told you to walk away from. It's not easy for you to come and tell me, the Lord told me to walk away from you, Diana. I will want you to explain. But you see, how far can you explain when God has given an instruction? We need to learn not to explain ourselves when you feel led by God, or when you feel like the season of a certain person has ended. You do not have to abruptly end it, but there's a way you can go about it that at the end of the day, it will not do the both of you harm. And for me, for this specific one, I just sat her down in a hotel and I told her, I feel the Lord is saying we need to part ways. And I did not go beyond that. I did not struggle to explain. I did not try to explain. I did not explain myself to her. Why? Because some things cannot be, the Lord may lead you to make a decision to walk away from some people that you feel are of profit to you. Because this was a good friend of mine, she would counsel me, she would advise me, she would work with me, but the Lord now said, move. You need to get to you need to get to this place that I also got to, where I was comfortable with walking away from people that God tells me to walk away from, even when I do not understand why. Even when I did understand why, I still, excuse me for a bit. I had to walk away even when I don't feel why I should be walking away. And so maybe that would be how some of you would want to go about things. Ask God, if this relationship, you're not sure about it, it's on and off, you're not sure of what it's bringing into your life, talk to God about it. Ask Him, what do I need to do different with this one? Do I need to stay? Do I need to walk away? And for me, there are many of those. There are very few that God has told me to walk away, but there are those ones that I have walked away just out of the necessity of wisdom. There are those ones you just look at and you walk away. And for me, most of the relationships that we had with Kevin, I no longer have them. At least, and the ones that I have kept, we do not still have them in that capacity. And I remember I was talking with a friend the other day. He used to be a friend to me and Kevin when Kevin was alive, of course. And we were chatting, and he was telling me, you need to bring those children to visit their grandfather. And I was like, yeah, he jokes like that. And we have not talked for a couple of years. And he was like, you need to bring your children to visit their grandfather. And I was joking with him. I was telling him, first of all, you need to explain to them how you became their grandfather, because they have not seen you in a very long time. But you see now, this is someone that we have not talked for a long time. He probably hasn't seen my children in maybe 4-5 years. Wow, yeah, maybe 4-5 years. But there is still that respect between us. There is still that relationship between us, even if it has been many years since we sat down and actually had a conversation. He's still someone that I regard and I esteem highly. But you see, sometimes you need to let distance be the one that dictates the relationships that come back. Because I have seen over time, being 11 years now since Kevin died, I have seen how some of the relationships that we had back then are coming back into my life now. 11 years later, they are coming back into my life now, but they are coming back more defined. Because sometimes when you let relationships go, when you let people go, it somehow creates a timeline with you and God, and the relationship get more defined. Like how I know there are relationships that are coming back, and I know exactly what their definition is. I know exactly what part they are playing in my destiny. I know exactly what is their position when it comes to me. And now they have also taken time for them to evaluate you and see the person that you are becoming. And those ones that are of God, I can guarantee you God restores the relationships that are meant to be of Him. And so for me right now, I'm in the space where I know there are those ones that we had that I let go then. I let go because they didn't know how to deal with my grief. Some of them have openly told me, Diana, we didn't know how to handle you. Some of them, I didn't know how to handle them. Some of them were malicious ones that I can no longer even want to desire to have back into my life. But you see, my letting them go has given me room for growth, first as a person. They have given me room for growth as a person. Secondly, they have given me the space for me to define how I want relationships to look like for me, how I want friendships to look like for me, how I want male friendships to look like for me. They have given me room because when I learned, when I kept these relationships that of who I was around me, they were not giving me room for growth, because we were always going back to the conversations of yesterdays, and I didn't like that. I wanted to grow, I wanted to evolve, I wanted to change, I wanted to heal. But as long as those relationships were around me, they did not give me the space to do that. So there are those ones that I completely let go, and I knew these ones, they are not coming back. And there are those ones that I knew with time they may come back, but I knew I needed to develop myself, develop my mental capacity, develop myself to a position where I knew if the relationships came back, they came back to a better version of me. I knew when they came back to me, they came back to me, and I had the understanding of how to steward them from that point onwards, because most of us lose relationships around us because we don't know how to steward them well. And time sometimes in between you and whoever that relationship is, it gives you the time for you to analyze yourself and to know how to steward them well. So right now I'm in this space where I know the relationships that I had when Kevin was alive, the ones that are coming back now, the ones that will be growing, they will be coming to a person that is better. They are coming back to a person who knows how to steward herself, to steward relationships around her, and has created boundaries onto how far the opinions of men come. So I hope this episode has been of help to you, and I hope you have learned a thing or two on how to heal and not allow relationships that are drawing you back into pain, not allowing relationships that are just full of accusations, people that will not give you room to grow. I hope the Lord guides you on the ones you need to let go. I pray that the Lord will give you the wisdom to systematically see how you need to let them go, and how far and for how long, and some maybe it will be permanently. So above all, I pray that you've been blessed and that you will join us on our next episode, even as we continue on this discussion. God bless you.
Watch part 8 of this remarkable testimony only on the next episode of Living Free with Diana.